Unread. Chris Reed scheduling for day in the life video shooting. 3 enter. Message has 9 links. Hi Cindy, we are running just a hair late, but should be there by 9:10. Looking. 4, 2. Working. With. You. Today period. Enter.
So I lost my vision 26 years ago. I was 41 years old, and when I was losing it gradually over about a year-long period, miraculously, the last trip my family and I took where I could see was through the Grand Canyon. And I had seen volcanoes, I had seen both oceans, but seeing the Grand Canyon, I was so thankful that I had actually been able to see that. And then, like a couple months later, I lost my vision. And it's so interesting. People are thankful for what they have. And when I first lost my vision, I was talking to folks at the Lighthouse for the Blind in Chicago, and it was a young woman I spoke with who had been blind since birth. And she sympathized with me because she felt like she didn't have anything to lose, and I did. And I said, yes, but I'm thankful for the 20 or whatever, 41 years that I did have vision.
I'm pretty sure I've been deaf my whole life. At birth, the ENT misread my report, and I didn't get an accurate diagnosis until probably around 4, and I didn't get my first hearing aids until around like 4.5. And so I went four years without sound. I can remember like bits and pieces from it. I remember what it was to put the ear molds in. I felt it was weird to have like something in my ear, and then suddenly all the sound comes in at once. And you can finally hear things that you haven't heard for the first time. It's very overwhelming, but it was cool because I was able to get to hear.
As a person who is blind, it's different from, obviously a person who is not blind, because in my mind, I wonder what you all look like. It's like when you call someone, you hear their voice like, oh, okay, they probably look like this. And then you get to shake their hand and goes, okay, well, they're kind of short or tall or small. Because, that's how you get the feeling of a person, I guess, lack of better words.
Hello, my name is Santa Perez, and I have cerebral palsy. Most people don't have someone who gets them up in the morning, helps them in the shower, gets them dressed, and feeds them. They have that freedom. Now, I'm not saying that I don't have freedom, because I do, but it's a different kind of freedom. It's not good or bad, it's just different. I use a power chair, but the most significant assistive technology that I use is my computer. I'm not able to use my hands to type, I use Morse code. 2 switches are under my chin, one for DIT and one for DA. I use these switches to type and operate my computer. Another assistive technology that I use is a straw. I know, people might say a straw is not assistive technology, right? But it is. When no one is home, I can get a drink independently thanks to this simple invention.
For the last 5 years, I have paid attention to the legislatures when they're in session and during right now the interim session. And I usually use my iPhone to do these things. So I usually use the voiceover function in an iPhone. And what that is a screen reader that will read off what your finger touch on the screen. So that's how I can participate in legislation or legislatures Zoom meeting and the City of Reno's council meeting as well.
Okay, hi, good afternoon. This is Dora Uel Martinez, and I'm going to demonstrate what I use. So here we go.
After Chairman Miller, my name is Rachel Martinez. I'm a Live, the Proud Military Mom, and an advocate for Line. I'm here representing the Disability Coalition. We are people with disabilities. I'm here to make disabilities.
When we talk about assistive technology, I have a software that's called JAWS. Based on the keystrokes I use, it'll read my email to me. It will help me reply to emails, those kinds of things. And then I go about doing the typical things like cooking. So all of our appliances kind of look like they've got measles because they all have these little tactile bumps, so I can figure out how high to make the burners and that sort of thing. So those are the types of things that are necessary for me. So I just, it's everything tactile. So I grab things and I could tell what it feels like. It's just basically being very, very organized.
Today, he will sign the most important civil rights legislation of the last quarter of a century. The President of the United States, George Bush.
I now lift my pen to sign this Americans with Disability Act and say, let the shameful wall of exclusion finally come tumbling down. God bless you all.
The ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act, was created to make life accessible for people with disabilities. And it created metrics, how far the bar had to be from the toilet and just different things like that. But after years of experiencing it, the public or private businesses might be in compliance with those kind of regulations, but oftentimes they still are inaccessible. When the ADA was first initiated, curb cuts were created so people in wheelchairs could cross them. What happened was blind people didn't have any way of knowing where the curb was, so it was decided that domes, little bumps, they're called truncated domes, were placed on those ramps so that a person with a service dog or a cane could feel it so that you would know when to cross. So my second dog is Hershey, the Wonder Dog, and she's a wonderful chocolate lab. My dog is really very good when I say, find the bumps, Hershey, find the bumps, and she'll get to the bumps. And then she looks up at me because she thinks she's supposed to get a treat because she found the bumps. Now, in a lot of places in my town, some of those domes are on one end of the street, a sidewalk, and then when you cross, there may not be another set of domes. So you could be walking in the middle of the street, your dog could be guiding you around looking for the other set of domes, and it makes it really challenging to find where the domes are on the other side. There is an intersection that crosses us at Nevada Way, and there is a pole with a button on it that you can walk over, push the button. That button initiates a light across the street to get cars to stop so that you could cross the crosswalk safely. The problem is that button is several feet away from the crosswalk. So once you get all the way to the button, you have to walk all the way back to the crosswalk. The other problem is the light is covered by a tree and a stop sign. So that makes it still pretty dangerous. So we need to do more to make our public officials understand that, yeah, you spent money, you put these things in, but they really don't make my life safer or more accessible. The city of Reno, Bend, Oregon, Naperville, Illinois, all have access commissions made up of individuals with disabilities who meet on a regular schedule and report back to the city council to say these are things we have to examine. And that's something I think every town community should have. Something that's really important that needs to be stated, the independent living movement talks about nothing about me without me. So again, if you want to put in an accessible door, ask me how that should look. Ask me how the street should look. Ask me how the sidewalk should look. People with disabilities should be at the table talking about all these access issues, and that's a really important feature.
There's the phrase that goes about us, without us. And that means people who do not have a disability always tell a person with a disability what's good for us. I had an incident where I told my dog, Sarge, I said, we need to go to the bathroom. I listened to the flush, and he does too, as he knows. And we walk right into a bathroom. And the guy goes, what are you doing in here? This is a men's bathroom. Doesn't your dog know how to read? So there's a news flash. My dog does not know how to read. And also, I had another incident where a lady was telling me, I have a door open, but it's not wide enough. Doesn't your dog knows how to measure? So service dogs don't know how to measure. They don't count, they don't read. So.
My DSP needs to go with me to the bathroom. Since my DSP is a male, some people say, just take her into the men's bathroom, she won't know. But I will know. And I can see and make comments. I am a woman after all, and I would probably make a wisecrack like my pickup line.
Hey baby, want a ride?
You gotta have a sense of humor, because if you don't, the world will just eat you up, and I refuse to let that happen. So I gotta laugh at myself a little and pet my dog's head and say, "Good job, you did great today," and he gets extra treats. So, yeah.
I wish more people understood about my disability, how much struggles and hardships we have to go through, like the amount of auditory fatigue we get just from hearing. Probably one of the hardest parts about being deaf and having hearing aids is when there's multiple different voices kind of overlapping and the background noise. It's harder for me because my hearing aids kind of like pick up everything that's going on behind me too. So it's harder for me to pinpoint on one specific person that's talking. After a long day, sometimes all I need is a break. And so I turn them off, and it helps, it soothes me, and it gives my brain a break from all that sensory overload. Since I was 9, I wanted to be on the U.S. Women's National Deaf Soccer Team. In July, I went to my first training tryout camp, and so it was really cool to learn the techniques that they use on and off the field, and to meet these players and see if this is potentially something I actually want to do.
The little patches will help.
On the field, it's just me and the ball, and everything else kind of just disappears. And it's one of the things that really does bring me a lot of joy. So I think if I keep going back to the camps and getting more training time in, I think potentially going to the Deaf Olympics could be in the future for me. I mean, just because I'm deaf, I can do anything that a hearing person can do, except that I can't hear. So I'm still in all honors classes. a 4.0 GPA. I'm still capable of doing things that hearing people are able to do. I just need a little bit of help to get me to that step. A lot of people think that being deaf is an easy disability, one of the easier disabilities compared to all the disabilities out there. They think that being deaf, all you have to do is put on hearing aid and it solves all of life's problems. You can hear again. Even with my hearing aids on, it doesn't solve everything. And I don't think they understand no disability is easy and being deaf isn't easy.
Diagnosis bias is really kind of troublesome. They think because you have an iPhone that talks to you, all you have to do is talk to it. So it is a challenge. People kind of minimize it. Oh, I know how you feel. No, you really don't, because you don't know what this is like.
A person who is sighted cannot tell a person who is blind on how to do things, because you cannot walk in our shoes. Same vice versa. I cannot tell a sighted person what to do, how to drive a car, because I never drove in a car before. No one with a disability is out there talking about people with disability, our issue. But when I start coming out and talking back in 2019 regarding the Right to Parents Act, where a mom who is totally blind got her daughter taken away solely because of her disability. And that really got to me, because I got 5 kids. I do not want anybody to take them away, because I'm capable of raising those kids. You know, they're in the Gifted Talent Program, they're in sports, they got a job, they're, well-rounded children so far. But I that really concerned me, so that's when I started getting involved. And when I went and spoke in the interim committee that Leslie Cohen was chairwoman of, they were shocked. They're like, "Wow, we didn't know that that's really happening here in our state." So they drafted a bill and passed it, and now it is a law. And after that, I just became more involved, because even until now, no one is speaking out on what they're going through as a person with a disability,
Like, some things that people can do to kind of help understand is people don't know if they don't listen. If they listen to what we go through, if they try to put themselves into that position, I think it makes it easier for them to understand the concept of it, even though they don't actually have the disability.
I think my disability has made me a stronger person, stronger mom. Having that perspective makes a person find a way to accomplish a goal that I want to accomplish. I never thought that I could be in the legislatures, talking about right to vote, right to keep your children. Once I went through it, jumped in blindly, I went through it, I did it, we did it. My group and I, we accomplished things. And I think that teaches my kids and myself that, maybe something looks really difficult from afar, but once you're in the situation and you know how to adapt and accomplish things.
I wish people could see me and not my disability. I am a human first. People think I must have a terrible life, but I have a blessed life. My disability impacts everything I do, but that is not a bad thing. It just is what it is. It is who I am. I feel that if I didn't have my disability, I wouldn't be the woman I am today. Maybe I'd be a bitch. I feel that my disability has made me who I am, a woman who is very opinionated, a woman who is not afraid to say what I want. That's who I am.
I'm proud of being deaf, and that's one of the reasons why I picked such brightly colored hearing aids. I'm not afraid to show off my hearing aids. They're something I'm proud of. It's what makes me, me, and I wouldn't be who I am now without my hearing aids and without being deaf. Sometimes I think about the what ifs, like what if I was able to get hearing aids earlier? What if I was never deaf in the first place? What if I never experienced discrimination? It's easy to think about all those what ifs, but if you put them all together, I wouldn't change it. If I had a choice of being hearing or being deaf, I would choose deaf. All of the hardships and the struggles I've experienced, I wouldn't change it for the world.
It's really hard because you feel like you're the only one and you're the different one. But, you know, unique is beautiful, and we need to speak up and tell the whole world what we need in order to survive and thrive in our beautiful community of Reno.
It is a national issue. People think we've got the ADA, we're all set. It's going to be an ongoing effort on people's parts. We have a lot of laws, and they can transition our worlds, but they cannot transform us. And relationships are what transform us into being a society that is welcoming and inclusive.